folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Nerd and Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today to discuss if Wizards of the Coast sees Lorcana as a direct competitor. If you have been living under a rock, Lorcana is the new trading card game by Ravensburger. It is, of course, Disney themed, and there are quite some similarities to Wilds of Eldraine, which will be released by Wizards of the Coast very soon. Look at Ashiok here, look at Maleficent. I think the similarities are pretty clear and it looks as if they could actually be from the same trading card game. I will look at several cards, and of course there might be similarities because Wilds of Eldraine is actually a fairy tale themed set, but I will look at a couple of more of these examples throughout the video, and we will discuss if Wizards of the Coast, who never acknowledges there is any competition out there, if they actually planned the release around the same time as Lorcana, which might be seen as a direct competitor. Wizards of the Coast says there are no competitors, but when they, end of last year, were announcing an awesome secret lair by Frank Frazetta, it was just by accident that it happened to come out at exactly the same time as the new Sorcery TCG was planned, which also had access to Frank Frazetta art. And I think, and nobody thinks, this is a coincidence. Frank Frazetta, of course, legendary, and Sorcery actually got postponed a bit, but Wizards of the Coast planned the release of the secret lair with the same artwork exactly at the time Sorcery initially had announced they would release their game. In general, if I look at Wilds of Eldraine, look at this beautiful artwork, of course, fairy tale related, a fairy tale themed set. We had a close look at the set and what it offers just this week. I will link to that video at the end of this video, but of course, look at this artwork and compare it to the Walt Disney Castle, then similarities will be pretty obvious in my opinion. I think Wizards of the Coast does not acknowledge competitors. They didn't do that with, I think Flesh and Blood was the first real competitor. I don't see Pokemon as a competitor. I think Sorcery is even more a competitor than Flesh and Blood because of the old school artwork and the nostalgic feel to it. Do they see Disney's Lorcana as a competitor? I guess yes. And based on my experience from working in the industry, it's very simple. People can only spend their money once. And if there is similar stuff, like look at the dragons here, of course, obvious example. And look at Red Riding Hood here, which is also a good example of a very Disney-like theme. Actually, if you directly compare it to the Disney one, I definitely like the Magic the Gathering style better because it's more badass. But people can only spend their money once, and back in the day, it simply was about share of the market. And that's why they see all the games that sell well as competitors. And there are different age groups, but Disney obviously appeals to all age groups. A lot of my friends have bought booster boxes, the ones I play Magic the Gathering with on a regular basis. A lot of my colleagues, which I sometimes play board games with, have bought Disney Lorcana booster boxes and starter decks. Really enjoy it and are very, very happy with the cards because everybody in their heart is still a Disney fan. And then I see Wilds of Eldraine here, just the theme, the cards. I mean, this looks like Elsa. Okay, she has dark hair instead of blonde hair, but it's so similar and it's so well timed. And the same was the case with the secret lair of Frank Frazetta artwork. And if you look at the design of the cards, it is just obvious they have drawn their inspiration from Disney. And of course, they are doing this to steal a little bit back of that market that is Lorcanas at the moment, because people are enjoying that kind of stuff. People are living that childhood Disney yeah, awesomeness and buying the cards and yeah, just getting memories back. I think it's a no-brainer that you can say that they did this on purpose. Artwork is just so similar sometimes. I just took a couple of examples. I looked at it for a couple of hours and looked at the cards, at Disney cards. I personally won't buy Disney's Lorcana because I simply don't want to add another trading card game. Looks cool, definitely looks cool. I would like to open a couple of packs. Very difficult to get anyway, and I don't want to add another chase item to my list of stuff I have to collect. But yeah, the inspiration is clear. I mean, look at cards like this, and of course, the inspiration is fairy tales, and you could always defend that if it's just fairy tales, then of course Disney has stolen from the fairy tales as well. Not stolen, just been inspired. I mean, there is no real copyright on these old stories, right? But strangely enough, I think Wizards of the Coast always manages to put out a certain theme, a certain world, plane at the same time as somebody else is doing it, and that is of course no coincidence. Looking back again, I draw from the experience I had while working for a distributor of Wizards of the Coast, but working in the video game industry as well. It's very, very clear that we always had the info and still have the info when our competitors are coming out. Either they announce it, or they you talk to colleagues from a different company. It always leaks out. We had whole decks during the meetings of Wizards of the Coast, which just looked at the quarters and what else was coming out on the board and trading card game market. I still have those presentations. Should have a look at it. We had that for Pokemon as well, and in general, they know exactly when what is coming out, and there's no doubt about that, and everybody who works in the industry will confirm that to you. I think therefore they could have easily chosen a different time slot for Wilds of Eldraine, but they have not. And yeah, that to me confirms they are seeing Disney's Lorcana, at least financially, maybe not gameplay wise, maybe not style wise, but even that they copy to directly go against it with Wilds of Eldraine. But they see Lorcana as a competitor, and they definitely see it as a game that can take over market share, which of course Lorcana does at the moment. Like I said, a lot of my Magic the Gathering buddies and a lot of my colleagues who are normally into more hardcore board games, they all at least bought a couple of booster boxes, starter decks, whatever they could get their hands on, because it's pretty much sold out. But yeah, it's very clear, folks. Wizards of the Coast is keeping track of the market. They're keeping a close eye on the market, and they are trying to capture every little piece of the market, even if it means they need to go directly against somebody else. And of course, that's their fair right, but I think it's quite interesting to have a look at it, especially if they don't want to admit that they are actually seeing things like Lorcana or other TCGs as competitors. Folks, thanks a lot for being on the channel. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you watched the whole video, our code word for people for the comments who watched the complete video is Yoda. Just use Yoda in your comments somewhere, and then I know you watched the whole video. Thanks a lot to all my viewers, you, my subscribers, and of course my Patreons and YouTube channel members. It's with your support that this channel can stay independent and I can say whatever the fuck I want here, and I love that because it's my fucking channel. Stay healthy, folks, stay frosty, and I talk to you next time. Bye bye.